Hi, everybody. Good to be with you as always. The other day, I was asking Siri on my phone for some directions somewhere. And when she gave them, I said, well, thank you, Siri. And I caught myself in my tracks. I thought, wow, you're thanking a computer. Is that really sane? And I realized that it is. Because when you give thanks, it's not simply for the giver of the thing you're thanking, but it's a gift to yourself, because the thanks have to go through you. When you rise to a consciousness of gratitude, you bless yourself. Whether or not the recipient is a person or a machine or a person who doesn't get it or receive it, everything you give to yourself in the moment you're giving it. And that's for better or for worse. So if you're angry at somebody, you're upset, that anger is working on you, irrespective of what's happening to the other person. I think Wayne Dyer used to say that resentment is like taking a spoonful of poison and then waiting for the other person to die, because it's yourself you're poisoning. And physiologists tell us that when you get angry or upset, all kinds of toxins and hormones get shot into your system that make you sick and shorten your life and do all kinds of bad things that you don't want, because you're receiving what you're giving in the moment you're giving it. Now, on the happy flip side, when you're giving gratitude or appreciation or acknowledgement or validation to somebody, in the very moment you're giving it, you become blessed by your giving it. So what happens to it after you give is not really the issue. What happens, the issue is what you're giving and what happens to you while you're giving it. There was a famous female Zen master named Sono many years ago, and she had one teaching: thank you for everything. I have no complaint whatsoever. Somebody would come to her with a marital problem. Here's your mantra: thank you for everything. I have no complaint whatsoever. Someone would come with a physical problem. Thank you for everything. I have no complaint whatsoever. Someone would come with a financial problem. Thank you for everything. I have no complaint whatsoever. Now, there's metaphysics behind this, because whatever consciousness you're in, you're getting more of. Coaching client came to me the other day and said, well, I'm waiting for this certain break, certain contract in my business. I'm waiting. It's not happening. I'm really upset. And I explained that waiting is a state of mind that begets more of the same state of mind. Any state of your mind you're in becomes a magnet. You magnetize more of the same experience. So the more you wait, and you probably noticed, the more waiting you get to wait. The more you're content in a given moment, the more you feel content. So every thought you're thinking is an investment in more of the same. It's like today's thoughts are previews, are coming attractions of tomorrow's experience. I knew a guy named Jeffrey, and his whole spiritual path was gratitude. I hung out with him for a day. Oh, thank you to the waitress. Thank you to the policeman directing traffic. Thank you to the custodian. Thank you to, he just went around thanking people all day long. And this guy lived in a very high state of consciousness, because he was continually cultivating gratitude. Now, this is a good lesson, because Thanksgiving is coming up, and it's a good time to start thinking about what you're grateful for. Spiritual teacher Abraham Hicks, says that gratitude is the state of mind closest to heaven, or closest to God. So if you want to elevate your consciousness, start thanking. You get it? And a lot of you know Jerry Jampolsky is a great Course in Miracles teacher. He said, when he used to get depressed, he found he could work his way out of depression by helping somebody. Because depression is very self-centered, going in, me. And when you're helping somebody, it's a whole different state of mind, because you can't help somebody and be depressed simultaneously. You just can't. So if any of you ever get depressed, just, volunteer, call somebody, take somebody out to dinner, say a prayer for somebody, and they'll automatically lift you out of your depression. So I'm using this as an illustration for gratitude because, complaining is a frequency. Illness is a frequency. Poverty is a frequency. Fear is a frequency. Those are all very, very dense frequencies. Boom, 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 boom. It's like it's a dark, heavy, thick frequency. And experiences like joy and creativity and connection and love and appreciation, they function at a much higher frequency. So you can't have two stations on your radio at once. You're either one or the other. And this is why Jesus said, no person can serve two masters. He will hate the one and love the other, or he will love the one and despise the other. In other words, Jesus did not have metaphysical language in his day. He talked about masters and love and hate. But he was teaching the metaphysics of consciousness by saying that you cannot be in two different consciousnesses at one time. You may flip it back and forth, but your mind can only focus on one thing at one moment. And if you're in gratitude, what happened to your pains, and what happened to your relationship issues, and what happened to your anger at your spouse? Well, it disappears because gratitude is healing. So a lot of people say, well, I have trouble meditating. They can't fix their mind. They have a monkey mind. They can't focus it. So I say, well, why don't you just practice meditating on gratitude? If you can't find God through transcendental meditation or whatever, just close your eyes and sit for a few moments and think about, what am I grateful for? And I do this at the end of each day. When I'm laying in bed before going to sleep, I think, okay, well, let me think the things I can be grateful for today. Well, I played with my dog. I enjoy watching my dog eat. And this person sent me a nice email of thanks. And I came up with a great idea for a new book or program. Or I got a text from a friend I haven't seen and heard from in a long time. Or I saw the sunset. I mean, there's a long list of stuff. And when you're busy in your day and you're distracted here and there, sometimes some of those beautiful gratitude moments kind of slip to the wayside. But if you really review your day, as I do each night, lots of really good things happen. A lot more good things than you're aware of when you're busy doing. So gratitude is really a valid spiritual path, and it may take people to God in ways that more formal spiritual paths do not. It's also a great turnaround technique. So years ago, I had this girlfriend, and we got into an argument about something, and we were both Course in Miracles students. She said, well, let's stop. And she said, let's just talk about what we're grateful for. So she began, and I followed, and we went on for a few minutes about why we were together and why we appreciate each other. And the argument disappeared. You can't be arguing and thanking each other at the same time. It's just not possible. In fact, I think we even forgot about what we were arguing about. That's how silly it was. So, God has given us a great gift in the power of appreciation. And I think the deepest appreciation is for ourselves. That's not egotistical. It's actually necessary. In other words, even if you're appreciating everybody out there and you're not appreciating yourself, you're really missing the point, because self-love, self-honoring, self-validation is really the platform for all good work in the world, all spiritual progress. Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself. But a lot of us are really good at loving our neighbors, but not ourselves. So if you're not a happy person and you're putting yourself down and judging and belittling yourself, you're not going to be a very effective person in the world because your consciousness sucks. Pardon me. That, you know, you're sort of in this vortex where you're kind of sucking and going into a rabbit hole and going down, 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 and you're walking around with a little cloud around your head. People can't get through that cloud. You can't see how to help people clearly either. So this is why self-love is really the necessary ingredient for any kind of productive work in the world, because when you're happy with yourself and you appreciate yourself and you accept yourself, your whole frequency changes. And in that frequency, you're fully capable to be with other people and enjoy them or help them or support them or whatever you're doing, even if you have a simple job. We had a lady in our coach training program, and she was the complaint department for an electric company in the Northeast. She'd been there for like 10 years. And she came to coaching because she was tired of listening to people complaining. And she wanted to become a holistic life coach, which I'll tell you about in a moment. And she took the training and she learned the skills of reflective listening, of really listening carefully and being with the person, honoring the person who's speaking. And also the skill of validation, which means letting people be right, you know, not arguing with them and honoring them for who they are instead of trying to change them or deny what they're saying or doing. And after the training, she went back to her job. She said, I love my job now. She said, I was going to quit, but I'm going to stay. She said, I'm going to stay. She said, I'm developing really loving relationships with these clients, even if they're complaining about something. Before I just sort of shuffle them off to another department, I listen to them and I chat with them and I get to know them a bit and I ask them questions and we develop a relationship in a short time. And I'm really enjoying being with my customers now. So she flipped herself from a resistant attitude to an accepting and appreciating attitude. And she stayed in that job. She didn't need to leave because she rose from a consciousness of resistance to a consciousness of gratitude. Now, we all need to do that. You know, we could probably all be more grateful, couldn't we? Even if you're a grateful person. I mean, there's always something more you could be grateful for, beginning with yourself. So how about this week you make it your meditation to sit for a few minutes each day at the beginning and or the end of the day and say, this is what I love about myself. I'm a good person. I have a good heart. I care. I'm sensitive. I want to help people. I have creative ideas. I've been doing work on my spiritual path. I'm trying to shift my life for the better. God made me unique. I have ideas and intuitions and visions that no one else has. And then you think about your unique gifts. What do you like to do that maybe not a lot of other people could do and nobody could do in your way? I mean, get established in the joy of your uniqueness. Even if you're weird, you're uniquely weird. And the weird is wonderful. You know, a lot of people complain, I'm weird, I don't fit in. Well, guess what? You're not supposed to fit in. There's a movie called What a Girl Wants, a really cute little movie with Colin Firth and some other good actresses. And it's about an American girl who has a British father, and she's going to visit him. And she's busy he's kind of British royalty, so to speak, and she's trying to become another person. And her boyfriend notices this, and he says to her, why are you trying to fit in when you were born to stand out? I could say that to you, couldn't I? Why are you trying to fit in when you were born to stand out? And so a lot of people who come to my classes think they're weird because they don't belong to this planet. Nobody does. You don't. I saw a great bumper sticker, just visiting this planet, which means that you're a spiritual being. It's just stopping by here for a while. It's not your home. You'll never feel at home in the world because it's not your home. You don't belong here. And so how about celebrating your uniqueness? How about, I'm so happy I'm weird because to me, normalcy is a deficit. I don't want to be normal. I don't want to be the same as everybody. A lot of people do that and they're not really happy. I want to be happy in my own unique weirdness. I'm going to find other people who are weird like me, and we're going to have a big party, which is what a lot of spiritual support groups constitute. So how about self-gratitude, self-love, self-appreciation, self-acceptance, and self-celebration? Not just accepting yourself or being thankful for yourself, but celebrating yourself. Wearing the colors you like, or taking the job you like, hanging out with the people you like, living where you like. How about living the life that matches your highest vision and your imagination? How grateful would you be to be able to do that? So let us close as we often do with a moment of knowing. So close your eyes if you would with me. Thank you, Spirit, for us being able to be together like this. What a wonderful technology we have that I could sit in my little room here and you're all around the world and you get to see this and I get to feel your energy in return. How cool is that? Thank you for my life. Thank you for my health. Maybe I'm not perfectly healthy, but I got a lot of good things going for me. Thank you for the people in my life who love me. And even if you have just one or two or three people who really get you, who understand you, who you can be yourself with, that's a blessing. Thank you for the nature around me. A lot of us walk in nature or go to the beach or go to the forest, see flowers, animals. A lot of us have pets. Thank you for my pets who bless me on a daily basis. Thank you for music. Thank you for my spiritual path. Thank you for my spiritual practices. Maybe I do yoga, Tai Chi, Course in Miracles. These gifts have come to earth from God to relieve our suffering and bring us closer to heaven even while we walk the earth. Take a moment now. What else can you sincerely say thank you, Spirit, for? And as you are doing this sincerely, you are lifting to a higher vibration. You are coming very close to God with ultimate name is gratitude. And I'm grateful for you. Thank you for those who show up and watch. Thank you for those who make comments. Thank you for those who subscribe. I'm very grateful to be able to do this. It lifts my life, as I hope it lifts yours as well. Have a beautiful week, and we'll see you again soon. Take care. Much love.